Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Rebirth Era. My name is Jessica Jade Patterson, and I am very delighted you're all joining me here for another episode. I am so excited to bring you this one, especially on the back of our conversation around emotions and feeling your feelings and knowing that it's okay to feel your feelings because it helps you get back to a place of neutrality, which means that you can see things objectively and not necessarily have to have an opinion about everything. But when you do have an opinion about something, knowing that if you're neutral about it and grounded in your opinion, it's very likely that people are going to listen to you way more. So if you haven't hit that episode, go back a step. It's episode 3. We would love to have you there. But if you're here and you've already listened to it, welcome, 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 welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you today about how things are perfect. And not that you have to be perfect. I can tell you right now that I'm absolutely far from it, especially this week. Honestly, if I was very judgmental on myself, this week would have been a doozy. It was already a doozy, but the judgment of myself would have made it so much harder to actually navigate it with grace and kindness towards myself, which is really, truly what I needed and what my inner child needed and my soul needed and things like that. So the reason we want to talk about how are things perfect is because if you choose to believe it and you're a spiritual gal or guy and you've rocked up here and you're like, what does she mean it's perfect? Everything sucks. Shit is hitting the fan. And I hate that. I hate that so much. You're allowed to hate it. Go back to episode 3 and write all of that stuff out and really feel how much you hate it. Let yourself have a temper tantrum. That's how kids regulate their nervous systems, which is quite surprising. But essentially, once you've felt all your feelings, you want to come back to kind of like a universal place. You want to see things how Source, God, the universe sees it. Well, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can buy into this, and you can understand as well that you're a soul here in a human meat suit having an experience, which the emotional experience is kind of the whole point of why we're here. We're meant to feel all the feelings, and we're meant to overcome ourselves to step into that next level version of ourselves, going against what everybody tells us, going against what the world wants us to be, and creating a life that is what we want it to be. But the only way to get there is to understand a few things along the way. And there's so many different pieces to the puzzle. This is just one of them. But I found this one extremely useful in order to kind of get okay. I say get okay with what's happening in front of me because honestly, shit really hit the fan for me. Obviously, I've talked about my multiple nervous breakdowns as well as my burnout, and I was so hard on myself that the world was mirroring back people being hard on me. I say it like that because I trust that my higher self, wherever she resides, is overlooking all of this, which is a universal truth. It's a truth for me, definitely, that she's overlooking things. So if something's happening, there has to be a reason for it. And if I don't have something that I want yet, there also has to be some sort of reason for that. I'm going to get into explaining a couple of universal laws, but essentially, when you want something and not just desiring it. So when you desire something, you are neutral. You're like, I trust that that's for me. But if it doesn't happen right now, I also trust that there's a reason for that, that I'm okay, and that there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with someone else. There's nothing wrong with the world at large. There's just not the right alignment of puzzle pieces happening at this moment for me to be able to hold the thing that I want and take care of it in the best way that I can, or be the best version of myself in order to receive it. There's a few different ways of looking at this here, and it all comes back to the law of polarity or the law of balance, which is essentially that everything must be in balance in order to be fine. I'm actually going to read something that I've put together about the law of balance, and it's kind of an explanation of how to see it with a bit of a story kind of filled into it. I've had the help of ChatGPT, and I don't recommend regular use of ChatGPT as your new friend and buddy, because what we want to do is create a relationship with ourself and our intuition, where instead of asking outside of us, we're going inwards and asking ourselves what we need. And that our heart mixed with our higher self or source or whoever we connect to for the best and highest good is our ChatGPT. You can have this as like a Google that helps you expand your range and your vocabulary and your knowledge. I believe, this is my beliefs, and you do not have to subscribe to this, but I do know that eventually, if you're feeling called to develop your intuition, it is going to be harder to detox this habit if you continue to use it. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. However, I've asked ChatGPT to describe the law of polarity or the law of balance as if describing it to a 5-year-old, but also giving some highlights of what adults in the audience might also want to think. So I want you to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. We're here in this journey together, so just enjoy it. It's a little bit of a story and a mental story visual that might help you understand this law a little bit better. So imagine the biggest playground in the whole universe, and on this playground is a giant seesaw. One side goes up, the other side goes down. One side is day, the other is night. One side is happy, and the other is sad. This playground rule is something grown-ups call the law of polarity or the law of balance. We're the grown-ups, but we're also the children. Scientists and philosophers have talked about the idea for thousands of years. For example, ancient Chinese philosophy describes a similar concept called yin and yang, where opposite forces work together to create harmony. I.e., if we're feeling happy about something, we also have to understand that there is a unhappy side of it, a sad side of it, a darker side of it. If there's a lighter side, there's a darker side. I'm just adding in here, but this is essentially got to do with our emotions as well. So if we feel really, really, really excited about something without seeing the potential of things that could go wrong, and it's not about being too positive or too negative, it's about seeing both so that you can be in the happy medium and just be vibing. Truthfully, when you understand this law further and you apply it to your life, you just vibe and you handle things with so much more grace and elegance than ever before, because you're not using your outside world as like a dopamine hit. Like, oh, if this doesn't go well, it's the worst. Like, this used to be me, especially about birthdays, and my mum will attest to this. I used to get so hyped up and control freaky about birthdays, like beyond anything that was considered normal. And I would end up crashing out because of the excitement and this pressure that I put on it, that it had to be perfect, that it had to go well. Absolutely, like, yes, I had a great time, but it would come at the cost of me also having one of the biggest meltdowns of my life. Do you see the polarity there? The high to the absolute low. There was no middle ground for me. It was just up, down. And truthfully, that was pretty much how I lived for the first 30-ish years of my life until starting to understand this law. So let's go back to this text. So let's pretend you have a magnet. Magnets have two sides, a north side and a south side. If you try to cut the magnet in half, what do you think happens? Well, each piece still has two sides. So I don't know if you've ever cut a magnet, but immediately once you cut the magnet, it still has a north and south pole. It's super interesting. This means the universe really likes having two sides to things: hot and cold, fast and slow, up and down, laughing and crying. And we name things good or bad all the time. We have been trained to do this, and this is what kind of keeps us a little bit separated from getting things that we want without the emotional roller coaster attached to it. Even feelings work like this. If you've ever felt really sad, it's usually because you've cared a lot about something. The bigger the feeling one way, the bigger it can be the other way. And this is law. The more that you have the capacity to feel the depths of your sadness, universally means that there is a timeline or a future available to you where you get to explore the most amazing other side of it. This is something that helped me on my healing journey quite a lot. I unfortunately did not fully comprehend at the time that I was still playing into this law so much, like bouncing up and down. Because if I went through a dark night of the soul or a bit of a rebirth moment, I would have like 3 good days where I would just be vibing, and I would live those days to the best of my ability. But with that would come a lot of dialogue, which didn't help when it came to the crash, because I would start being like, oh my God, I'm so excited that I feel so amazing again. Everything labeled, everything attachment. Like I'm attached to the fact that I feel excited and amazing again. And even using the word again, it's like temporary, you know, like, oh, it was a thing and now I'm so excited it's back. I couldn't just be okay either way. I couldn't see the perfection in it. I was either really good or I wasn't good at all. Period. And living like that is just not fun, let me tell you. This is the whole point of the episode, but bear with me. So, for the adult side of our brain, in philosophy and psychology, the idea of polarity shows up in many traditions. In the Kybalion, which is got a 1908 written next to it, Hermetic philosophy described as the principle of polarity. Ooh, say that 3 times fast. Principle of polarity. Principle of polarity. The Hermetic philosophy described as the principle of polarity, which states that opposites are actually 2 extremes of the exact same thing, hot or cold, light and dark. In Eastern philosophy, this is known as yin and yang, which represents interdependent forces where balance produces harmony. So with the yin and the yang, you've got the dark side with the little white dot, balancing it out. You've got the white side with the little black dot, balancing it out. In physics, systems often stabilize through opposing forces. For example, positive and negative electrical charge are concepts studied by electromagnetism. While the spiritual language varies, the underlying observation is consistent. Many natural systems operate through complementary opposites. Balance emerges from tension between them. So, the way that we can balance ourselves is when we see both sides of the coin of our situation, of the situations of the world. And it's not an easy task to do, and it can feel like you're faking it sometimes. But like I say with everything, practice makes progress, and don't knock it until you try it, because if you feel like you're turbulent AF and you just want a little bit of peace, or you just want a little bit of not riding the roller coaster, but also vibing your own life, this is one way. This is one of the tools for the toolbox to help you create this. It's not an achievement. It's not something that you're missing without. You're still breathing, you're still alive, and you're still working with your higher self to live your most excellent life. This could just make it a lot smoother on the way there. And the more that you practice this, the more that you see it in every moment of your life, truly. So back to our kids side of the analogy. So if the universe has a seesaw, what happens when we sit right in the middle? This place is called neutral. Neutral means not too up, not too down, just right. It's like the 3 little bears and Goldilocks. It's like standing in the middle of the playground and saying, okay, that happened, but what should I do next? Or how would I do that differently? When we get super upset or super excited, it's like sitting at the very end of the seesaw. But when we breathe, think, and calm down, we move closer to the middle. And also when we see both sides. And from the middle, we can make better choices. So, the secret trick. You don't have to stop feelings. Feelings are a part of the seesaw. That's why episode 3 is so important. But you can learn how to balance on it. Kids do this when they take a deep breath, talk about their feelings, ask for help, or remember that bad moments don't last forever. Kids are so good at getting back to good. They're so good at moving on from things and seeing both sides of things. They're little light beings who have been unhindered by this wonderful world that we've chosen to be here in at this moment in time, if you choose to believe and subscribe to the fact that we've all chosen to be here, and that there's actually like a waiting list to get into Earth School, guys. Well, we are literally here at this moment on purpose for a purpose, and it's our choice to see, it's our choice to see that if we want to see that, but not seeing it and eventually coming back to the idea, you're going to be like, damn, I wish I had listened. I wish I had have tried. And if you don't test and measure any of these concepts, and you have an opinion without ever testing and measuring something, you're really doing yourself a disservice. Because truly, my favorite thing in life is being this like scientist, like inspector, experimenter of my own life and seeing what can happen on the other side. And truly, yeah, it's been ugly. I've had some truly ugly moments that I've had to live through in real life, but I wouldn't take any of it back because everything grew me into this incredible person that I'm so proud to be sitting here delivering this podcast to you as. And that's not exclusive to me. We all have the access to this through the choices that we make and the things that we are telling ourselves and thinking on a regular basis. We are giant supercomputers, and what gets repeated gets rewarded. So it's not about doing this every single day straight away. It's about just trying it. Like you would try a new cocktail that you see on a menu at your favorite restaurant if you're feeling adventurous. I'm not sure. But, being open to change can be really exciting if you're willing to navigate the highs and the lows of an experience like that. Because with the high highs come the low lows, as per the law of polarity. So the final thought on this piece before I get into some journal prompts I'm going to leave you with before we end this really short episode today is, if you remember only one thing today, remember this. The universe, the world you live in, is like a playground. Everything has two sides. And when life pushes the seesaw one way, there is always another side waiting to rise. And so I don't know about that final thought necessarily. I guess with respect to the law of polarity, it's like if you were having a down moment, know that a better moment's coming. And I love seeing things like that. But also know that everything is data or data. I said data to my American friend the other day and she's like, oh, I thought you were saying like dada. And I'm like, no. So we'll say data. Everything is data for your human computer self to analyze in order to understand what the next steps are to get you to the reality that you want. If you're feeling like you're being exposed to trials and tribulations and you understand that your higher self has a grand plan for you, but you're still saying things like, oh no, like, I don't know, everybody's against me, like everything shit happens to me, da 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 da, da 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 da. Remember that your words create what comes next. Not necessarily all the time, but the more that you feed into thoughts and put energy into the energy bubble of, oh, everything bad happens to me, or, you continue to create more of that. When you start to make changes in your language and you start to make changes in your behaviors, you can really shift some things quite rapidly. And it can feel like you've entered a whole new world, but it can also feel like you're Delulu AF until you get there. But if you trust the things that feel true to your heart, and just by breathing into your heart and asking yourself, what feels true to me today? Does this feel like something I should explore? And you're getting a yes in your body, or you're just curious or you want to try and prove me wrong. Whatever it is that motivates you. Truthfully, for me, proving people wrong was really massive motivation for me for a really long time. So whatever floats your boat, float that boat. I'm here for it. As long as it helps you open up, crack you open to the curious nature that lives inside of you, that just wants you to explore the fact that you are capable of so much more than you probably give yourself credit for. And if you're trying to start giving yourself credit, I love that. We haven't even covered that in the episode yet. But if you can feel that you are amazing and know it in your bones, nothing else should matter. But if you are not quite there yet, we can build that. We're building that through this show, okay? So understanding that there's good, bad, and there's a middle point. And we can bring ourselves back to the middle point by understanding a little bit more about our experience and what's going on. And so that's the law of polarity and how we're using that to our advantage today with these journal prompts. Okay. So I'm going to use myself as a real life example because why not? I speak to a lot of intuitives. I obviously am an intuitive, but I speak to a lot of them within the realms of where I study, and we often practice on each other and all sorts of things. And so one of the common things that comes up is your level of want for something. So let's say you're me, and there was a large portion of your life that was down, and you were like, I don't understand why this happens. And then you take that all upon yourself, and then you have a spiritual awakening that helps you wake up to the fact that it was all for you somehow. Okay, cool. Then you buy in, you do the work. But there's still things that all this time you've told yourself that you wanted. One of them was a relationship. I've always wanted to be in a loving relationship where I feel like an equal and I'm respected and all of those sorts of things. I wanted it ever since I can remember. Disney definitely did not help me stay neutral about this at all. So I've gone, want and not want would be, I guess, this opposites of this specific example. But essentially, the more that I've fed into the want bubble of I want this because it will make me feel XYZ. So being in a relationship would make me feel seen, heard, loved, valued, wanted, all of these sorts of things. This is the data. The want is the data showing me where I'm not showing up for myself. Okay, this is getting a bit of depth to it, but bear with me. So when we want things out of like feeling like we need them to feel something, we create this like dreamland where, like, for example, like a relationship is pedestaled to me if I'm in the want for it. I'm not seeing both sides of how it is both good and not good. I can't even tell you how many friends, especially over the last 5 years, are just like, oh my God, they're in relationship. They're in beautiful relationships. But don't you ever think that they don't tell me, oh my God, I just miss my single life so much. Oh, I really wish I could just trade places with you for a day. Da, 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 da. And it's like, wow, cool. Okay, I'm missing a piece here, and they're offering me the information of what I'm missing. When I wasn't open to the both sides thing, I would just be like, oh yeah, clearly you're ungrateful for what you think that you don't have. With love and respect, anyone who's listening who is a example of that, I love you so much. But that was showing me, my judgment of that was showing me how I didn't see how I had it so good in the area that I have it in. So being single, being able to do whatever I want, I was missing how incredible that was because I was too in the want of what I didn't have. And so using these journal prompts for whatever this resonates for you, where you want something and you can't see the other side of why it's the best thing that you don't already have it, these journal prompts will help you get the want down, and it will create space in your energy field and within yourself of, oh, maybe I've already got it perfect. Maybe it already is perfectly on purpose for a purpose. If my higher self hasn't set it up yet, there must be a really good reason for it. And now I'm starting to open myself up curiously to the possibility of why that is, instead of kind of being a little bit of a brat, a petulant little brat. I'm calling myself out here, but if you're triggered by that or resonating with it, these journal prompts might also be for you. Or re-listening to this episode and buying into, oh, maybe I'm leaning more on one side of the seesaw than in the middle. Like I'm really leaning on this side and not seeing how the grand plan of everything is actually working out better for me in the long run. It's amazing how many people say, in hindsight, oh, I wanted this thing for so long, but it actually came to me at the perfect time. We are trying to create the power of hindsight here in the moment, and these journal prompts should help you get to that. So here are the journal prompts to help you get your want down and help you see a little bit more neutrally, to create a bit more space in your life to potentially invite more of the energy of what you want into it. And then I'll give you a little bonus at the end of what might help you call it in after trying these journal prompts for a hot second. Okay, let's go. Journal prompt number 1. Why being where I am at is the best thing that has ever happened. So for me, when I do this, which is a real example, and I do it on the desire to be in a healthy, loving relationship, why is being where I am the best thing that's ever happened to me? Okay, well, I get to luxuriate in all of the fun of being a single gal in my 30s. Love. And if I'm not fully bought into that, how can I journal a little bit more on all the incredible things of that thing? I probably have a laundry list of examples if I'm not being a victim about it. So am I able to choose to open myself up to see all those examples? If I write them down, absolutely. Okay, great. So why is it the best? Why being where I am is the best thing that's ever happened? Higher self knows exactly why it's the best thing that's ever happened. So can I see it? Can I choose to see it? Am I available to seeing it? Okay, let's try. And the more that you practice this over time, the more that want will come down and create space in your energy to actually invite in or allow in what you want. Because the more that you want it, the more that you're pushing it away, which is the law of opposing forces. I think it's also the law of polarity. So you're pushing it away with the want. So you want to be neutral. You can still desire it. Desire has a different energy behind it. But want means you don't have it. And so you're creating more of, I don't have this. Period. Okay. So similar question, but slightly different. So that one is, why is being where I am, single gal in her 30s, the best thing that's ever happened? Write the list down. So I've got freedom to do whatever I want. I don't have to ask or tell anyone what I'm doing and potentially have them judge me, potentially have them tell me that I can't do it. I call the shots. I make my own schedule. I can eat whatever I want whenever I want. I can buy whatever I want whenever I want. And it's not to say that I wouldn't have that in a relationship, but those are the examples that are coming to me right now. I don't really know what it would be like, truly. And I guess it could be anything that you want if you create it and have the right boundaries. But again, we're talking about right now. So right now, here are all the reasons why I'm exactly where I need to be. Okay, so this is a hindsight question. So if I'm looking from the future, back at Jess now, and then also back at all of the previous Jessicas, why is where I'm at exactly where I need to be? Well, there were so many relationships that didn't go right for me that were educational, but also had an emotional heart element to it that was growing me. But that also needed time. I couldn't just rip the Band-Aid on this thing. I needed to integrate and then relearn something and integrate and relearn something and integrate. And hindsight shows me that every time I've been through a relationship that didn't work out the way that I wanted it to, or I tried to force it to work the way that I wanted it to and it didn't, I learned so much. And then even in revisiting that in the future after things didn't go right or whatever it might be, I am able to see that more and more and more because I'm looking at it from a hindsight lens. So why is being where I am exactly where I need to be right now? Well, at the moment, I'm creating a podcast and I want space for this. So it's perfect. And I'm creating the space and the relationship to this right now, which is what I truly want to be doing. And so I'm also building a relationship of love with myself, and that's important to me. And so that my space and my time is going to that. Insert all of the reasons why. There is both sides of it, but I already know all the negative sides. That's the want happening, right? So by looking at the other side of it, I'm balancing myself out into neutral where I'm kind of like, I'm good either way. Yeah, I'm really good either way. And this is what we want to create for you too, okay? Perfect. So, third and final question. Why am I special and unique? Now, anyone triggered by that? There's your work. There's your homework already. Go and explore that. We are all special and unique. Every single person on the face of the planet. Even two identical twins aren't exactly the same. They have their own experiences, their own reflections, and their own past lives history, all sorts of things that are going on that make them different. Yes, they might have a number of similarities and a number of commonalities, but they are still two individuals on this world, on this planet, having an experience that is, even in its moments that are similar, are still kind of different. So part of the self-love journey for me has been looking at why I think I'm special and unique compared to other people. And it's not about doing this from a place of ego to be like, I'm better than you. We are all equal. And yes, everybody has different experiences in this life. We can go down this rabbit hole and everything if you want to fight me on it, absolutely. But it doesn't change the fact that this is how these laws work. And it doesn't change the fact that this is something that you are available to look at within yourself and be proud of and love at the same time, if you're willing to do the work to see yourself as special and unique and valuable. And only you can do that. You can externalize it until the cows come home, but it will never quite satiate or fill you the way that learning to see these things about yourself and admire them and be proud of them could ever do. So why am I special and unique? Well, I'm a girl in her 30s who is making a podcast, and that's pretty cool. And I have been on a spiritual journey, and it's been really interesting. And there's been a lot of ups and downs, highs and lows, and a lot of polarity. And now I'm living more in the neutral space where I'm able to talk about it with love, even though some of it was pretty hardcore and would make a really great movie, right? Like, there is so much from each of us, from our lived experience, that we're just overlooking because the outside world tells us that we're not special and unique. We have to see it for ourselves. It's our job. And we can go, like, don't you want to be defiant and go against what everyone's telling you to do and be like everybody else? Don't you want to see how special and unique you are? Don't you want to look different and like you and feel like you, however that feels true to you? Well, you get to choose it. And you've just got to keep choosing it and go against everybody else and choose yourself for the best and highest good because your heart wants you to and your inner child dreamed of it. That's why you're doing it. That's why you're special and unique. And that's why every little moment that you invest back into yourself and do this, you get a return on investment, ROI. I've been using that a lot lately, and it's something that I picked up in my new job, and it's really interesting but true. Every time you invest in yourself, you get something back. There's the law of reciprocity, which we'll go into another day, but truthfully, every little bit contributes to a big bit, and you just have to be the one that is willing to see it, explore it, discover it, and own it eventually when you get the kahunas to do so. So how is this perfect? How is this perfectly on purpose for a purpose for you? These are your 3 journal prompts. I'm hoping to put them in Canva and make them downloadable. So if you go onto my Instagram or my Linktree, either on TikTok or Instagram, or I'll try and link it in the show notes, go and download that if it's there for you. And if not, just send me a DM and I'll send you what I've created. But other than that, just be curious. Just make a promise to yourself. If you can, make a promise to me, but if not, make the promise to yourself that you're just going to be a little bit more curious, a little bit more open to asking yourself questions, a little bit more available to feeling your feelings, and just trying to see if you can find both sides of things, if you can be open to being neutral about stuff, if you can believe that maybe this could work for you. Maybe this could be another tool to add to your toolbox. Maybe it doesn't vibe for you at all. I don't know. Only you know the answer to that. So give it a go or don't give it a go. But if you do, let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear it. And I will see you again on the next episode. So for the next few episodes, I'm looking to create a bit of a theme going on. So I'm thinking for March 2026, we'll do all about the body. Different aspects of what to understand about the body, your relationship for mind, body, and soul, and how your body contributes to those sorts of things, and how even your posture signals so many things to your brain and all sorts of things. So we'll start with body, and then we'll do a month of mind and a month of soul, and just really explore these 3 things before we even start getting into all things intuition and spirituality and all of those sorts of things. But really understanding that every aspect of yourself matters, and we just really want to love ourselves as much as possible because it's our greatest investment in ourselves, and everything else gives us a ROI on that. So sending love, sending hugs, sending vibes. I hope you're amazing, and I can't wait to see you all again very soon. Bye.